happening, folks? Welcome. What's happening? People kissing in this episode.
Yeah.
We getting belly buttons licked in this episode. And actually, neither of those are coming from people that are like the self-proclaimed sexual beings, which is very interesting. But we'll talk about all that and more on a brand new episode of the Jasmine Show. What's happening, y'all? It's Vince,
Jasmine.
and we're talking about Married at First Sight, episode
10.
10. I was test. That was a
You trying
test.
to get me.
That was a test. I didn't know if I don't know if we if I have the Pass the Cow blurb once again, but the name of this episode is in fact Locked Up, and we'll talk about who's getting locked up. Hey, I like that. I like that. We are locked up in this again, of course, for a season 13 of Married at First Sight in Houston. I'm going to start with whoever I have the least amount of information for, which is Mirla E. Gill this time.
Really?
Let's start with Mirla E. Gill today. Let's get some quick reviews out for them. The only thing that I had about them was that I think we did get to see Dr. Viviana this episode going over exercises about intimacy and trust, which is amazing. I love anytime that experts get involved. Gil asked Mirla a question at one point. Well, how do you see yourself 5 years ago? And she said something along the lines of less patient. He was like, "You were less patient 5 years ago?"
That sounds like something you would say.
I would.
That's all I was thinking.
I would. And it might be true as well. But I thought that they were cool for most of this episode. The other highlight from them is during their intimacy exercise, they had to breathe on each other and put each other's heads on the
abuse.
Luckily, the Mirla Gill was in the face. But yeah, they had to breathe and talk and say like affirmations and how much they care about each other and things that they appreciate about each other. She said that she needs from him his patience, and also that she's challenged by his patience. I thought that was contradictory to me.
No, it's not.
It wasn't?
Because she's challenged because she feels pressured. Because he's exercising patience, but he's still, you can be like, I'm being patient, but you could still want something to happen sooner, even though you're being patient.
This is true.
The patience is more for the other person to respect their wishes.
Okay.
So I think that's what she meant. She basically meant, I appreciate your patience, and I know it's hard for you, but I need you to continue giving me that patience, is what I grasped from what she was saying.
I got you. All right, so that was something that I really enjoyed. Eventually, also they had like a little get together, like a guys date, girls date. But
we're gonna come back to that.
We'll come back to that.
Gil was the man this episode.
Gil was the man because he got his smooch just by being, you know what I'm saying, caring and patient.
And y'all kept saying Mirla doesn't like Gil. I'm like, I can see parts of myself in Mirla. Mirla likes Gil. She's just not rushing to jump into bed with him, which I don't understand why the experts keep pushing having sex.
Because that's part of the experiment. It's just,
I don't think that
they
should be pushing.
I get it though. They're trying to increase intimacy, and I'm glad that.
But intimacy is not necessarily sex.
No, absolutely, and I'm glad that even though Dr. Viviana is the sex professional, that she wasn't even pushing sex as much.
She would ask everybody, so y'all having sex?
She asked. You always ask, but she wasn't like. I think it was with Bao, but we'll talk about that. Anything else about Mirla and Gil? Trying to keep it on a good time, nice and fast. It was nice and fast. If you feel any way about Mirla and Gil in the chat, please feel free to let us know in the comments. I think they're doing well. We'll talk about the ratings. Moving on to Hurricane K, baby. Hurricane K is in the building. Now, I'm very, very excited about this because I always get a really good clip from them. Anytime they're doing something, I always get a really good clip. To start off on a positive note, she's been making efforts with his boundaries. Is something that he came up with when they were discussing like things that they.
His boundary is not screaming on him. That's his boundary.
It's a big.
So she's refrained from doing that.
That's what it was. Not blowing up on him. Again, I can see a little bit of Michaela in you because you also had to.
I'm not slamming Clorox swipes and moving out and all this stuff. I've never done none of that shit she did.
Right. So
she was wilding, and she just met him.
So the name of this, she has just met him. The name of this episode is Locked Out, and we'll get into that as well. Yeah. But it could have been knee-jerk reactions. Like, if there was, like, a director's cut of this episode, knee-jerk reactions would be the name of that.
It would.
I think so. Because they said that so many times, it was like somebody's safe word almost. But my guy Zach was pissed off. As you can tell in this clip right here. She was doing a thing. We got to spend just a second on it. She was doing a thing where she acts like she's not Hurricane K. Like, you know, when Urkel would be Stefan. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I can't understand why.
You would think I would blow up.
Dr. Viviana, I can't comprehend why you're doing it right now.
Right.
Like, anytime a man has to do this, like, he's very upset. That, especially because we haven't seen Zach do that this whole time.
Well, the thing is, I think the issue here is Zach did not like that she flipped out. He told her he didn't like it. And she said she apologized and she's refrained from doing that.
Big flip.
The question is, has she refrained from doing it? Like, it's no longer part of her? Or is she just holding it in now? Because that's also a dangerous game. And I think she's trying to prove to him that she can change and work on it, which she has been doing, and he's acknowledged that.
Yes.
But he's not. The issue is, I don't think he's forgiving or forgetting. You could forgive somebody and not forget.
He's definitely. I don't even know if he's forgiving.
I don't think he is.
He's not forgetting.
I don't think, because he keeps bringing it up constantly, right. But that's not going to encourage somebody to continue, to move forward. It's like she's saying she feels like she's getting beat down, which I think is kind of dramatic too. But I think they both dramatic, but I don't like that. I feel like Michaela, and I seen everybody on Twitter was going in on Zach. But I think that Michaela...
Because he was yelling when he was explaining about how she be yelling.
And he was, like, breaking down about it, too.
He cried.
I don't think that he's prepared for marriage.
Zach was very emotional. Not. And then at that point is when they start to show that it doesn't look like you know how to handle conflict yourself, good sir. Right. You know what I'm saying? But when you're dealing with somebody that's, like, talking to a brick wall, I get it.
But you also don't know the person, so you have to talk to them.
Y'all just met as well. That's the only way. Y'all just met.
But anyway, so Michaela does this thing when she talks to the other girls or talks to the expert. She does, I call it the Miss Perfect.
Ooh, talk about it.
Where you're saying and you're responding in all the right ways that you should, but when a situation pops up, is that really how you're going to respond? It's like a...
Let them be together in the room.
It reminds me of how I code switch for work is what it reminds me of. So, like, I'm not going to be like, beep, 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 beep.
And she just snitched on herself, but go ahead.
Whatever. Anyway, I be code switching.
Most people.
When I'm talking to the people in the office, I talk differently. And I'm more put together, more professional, all that stuff. So that's the vibe she gives me. Like, she's presenting a personality to people is what I get from
I'll give you that.
So... anything else for them?
That's all I got for Michaela and Zach. Let's move on, folks. Please let us know how you felt and whose side you're on in this one. I feel for Zach,
they
obviously.
Both got problems.
No, big facts. I feel for Zach because we've seen everything that's happened so far, but he wasn't making a strong case for himself this episode. This time we're talking about Zibow Bow. Zibow Bow. Bow, 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 bow. I got nice clips. I got nice clips. So yes, this whole episode was about them having sex. No, not all the way. They did some morning yoga, which kind of could lead to sex maybe. Again, intimacy exercises. They was kissing necks. They was licking belly buttons. They was breathing on each other and stuff like that. Just doing all types of cool stuff.
Bao says she wants to have sex every day or every other day.
Bow bow.
She's wilding.
Bow bow.
I would never tell a man that.
How often is she taking a shower?
She better be taking a shower every day now, if that's the case.
Girl.
I feel like you would have to take well, I'm sure somebody nasty out here not taking showers.
Girl.
But
that's all I gotta say.
He hasn't brought up that, so I feel like maybe she been washing that.
He's like, yo, if I'm getting it, man.
Yeah.
Stanky or not.
If he was smart, he'd be like, you want to take a shower together? He gonna Wumani.
Genius. I was gonna say it worked for Wumani.
It definitely did.
It worked for Wumani.
She's like, you trying to take a shower?
Plenty times, and she initiated too. Yeah. Go ahead, Imani.
I mean, that was a good way to start intimacy.
I love it. Anything else about Bao and Johnny except for the drama that they got dragged into allegedly?
I got nothing else.
Nothing else. So we're making record time right now.
and
let's talk.
Ryan.
Let's talk about these folks.
I'm not really feeling Ryan because I feel like he switched up on Brett. So I feel like initially he was like, she's not my type, but I really like her as a person. And like he's like, oh, I'm attracted to her, and like I feel like he was into her.
What did you say his type was?
He likes a blonde.
Bimbos.
Bimbos, exactly.
He likes bimbos,
exactly.
apparently, which I didn't see at first. I might have missed those clues, but his friend said that's who he dated.
His friend said he dates potatoes normally.
Potatoes.
I was like, oh, so he like dumb girls.
And Brett is smart. Brett is smart. She's amazing. Smart,
but I will say the one thing that she does, she has that competitive energy, and a lot of guys see that as a friend zone.
Okay. All right.
So I could see that, but I feel like Brett be like trying to be cute and like. I feel like Brett is putting forth effort, and Ryan is just what did I call him? He's a robot. He's a robot. He has no emotions. The only thing he brings to the table is those bags under his eyes.
Yo,
okay?
my man be tired. I'm tired right now.
What is he going through?
I gotta admit, I'm tired, but yeah, he be going through a lot. But you know, the stress of well, first off, I'll give him credit. I always give the guys anytime you could be vulnerable and share certain things. It takes a lot as a man because you might not even be aware of what these feelings are, and there's not always a good time. Like, if I say this, like, are y'all going to try to cancel me and trash me, or can I feel how I'm feeling right now and just get this out?
He keeps saying he's waiting for this spark and like wanting to throw his wife up against the wall.
Exactly.
And Dr. Viviana was like, "That's Hollywood stuff."
It is Hollywood. I guess it is.
I mean, obviously it could
happen.
Nothing
wrong. There's nothing wrong with feeling like that.
But if that's what you're looking for, like I said, he's just looking for somebody to hold his babies. Is how I feel.
It's very possible. But he admitted to being stuck in this spot, whatever this spot may be.
He said it's a type thing.
He wants to feel the butterflies. Apparently, Jazz and other people are saying that he wants to feel the bimbos. But who knows? Who knows? Beautiful, beautiful wife.
But also,
he's not in love. He's not feeling it. He's like, oh, I like her, but. You know, but I do think that it was great that Dr. Viviana said, hey, look, this is not, you know what I'm saying, it's not going to sparkle.
I felt bad for Brett, though, because she's like, I always end up in, like, dealing with people that are not certain about me. And that was triggering.
That felt bad. That felt really bad. And I know he was upset. He was like,
he was so upset that he left for 2 days afterwards. Let's talk about that.
That was really weird.
Why are we still leaving the house when we have a 2-bedroom?
He needed some space, I guess, to make sure that he wasn't providing any more harm. I don't know.
The way I see it is they haven't had any obstacles, any arguments. They ain't been through nothing.
What
are you leaving?
They ain't been through nothing. So I guess that's why they took the time in their intimacy exercises to go through this tantric massage situation.
I feel like that's a curse.
I don't know what that is.
Everybody that does a tantric massage, except for Miles and Karen, gets a divorce.
Miles and Karen did do the same thing, and that's where the most intimacy we've seen from them.
Mindy and Zach did it in DC.
I guess.
Who was the last season? Ryan and Claire did it, and she still ain't getting none.
I'm not sure, but I liked it. I'm glad that they did their thing. Again, that's what the whole episode was about, was intimacy. We saved the best for last, folks. We saved the best for last. It's finally time to discuss.
To talk about the new trash man.
Is he the new? I guess he would be the new trash man. I guess he would be the new trash man, technically.
Young Deadlock.
Mr. Deadlock himself. Now, talking about Rachel and Jose. To start off, Dr. Viviana had nothing to say. Y'all are good. Y'all are good. Enjoy yourselves. This is wonderful. You're doing your thing. You know what I'm saying? She dipped out. It was the shortest meeting she's ever had on the show.
You didn't peep when she said, oh, so how's the sex? What's your favorite part about it? Rachel's face was like,
girl, what you gotta say?
The sex is trash, bruh.
Use your words.
The sex can't be good based off her face.
All right. I did clearly miss that part.
It wasn't like, when you have good sex, you'll be like, it was just like, her face was like straight, but she was trying to look like a pleasant demeanor. It wasn't working. He
be trying to do spreadsheets in the bed?
He probably do. Spreadsheets.
That was good. That was off the top. Right. But yeah, aside from that, we did get to see them a little bit later on after Dr. Viviana left, because there was no resolution on anything that might have been, bubbling up. It turns out that how did this whole situation start? They were having a
That
conversation.
Jose need his ass beat. It turns out
they were having a conversation. I guess she might have mentioned her infidelity again, just because she loves doing that.
He loves it,
and
he loves to talk about it. So she talk about it.
And she called him another man's name at some point.
Yes, that's all the information.
Did we see this? We didn't see this on camera. It just happened.
We saw him cussing her out on camera.
Right. With
the producer
with
sitting
the producer.
there.
I'm like, who is this? Is that her friend? Who is this woman just in the room with him? But
he's all types of F-bombs. Then she was like, "Is this how you talk to your wife?" And he said, "What did he say? Get the F out." She said, "Are you serious?" He said, "Bounce." I'm like, "Not Martin, bounce."
He said bounce though.
He said bounce.
He did say bounce.
I'm like, oh.
I thought that was
the audacity for me.
I thought that was interesting. They had him pointing and shouting and stuff like that. It was a bad situation. Eventually, they were able to console, I guess, and get back together. It was more of
what was
like
this?
It was more of him like being like, "Hey, what's good?" And she's like, "He locked me out the house yesterday. We're just not gonna talk about that." So again, certain telltale signs when a man is just going through enough, he gonna hop up on the counter and say, "All right, let's discuss this." I guess what F boy business is what she described, or trash man, as you will again.
If that's how he reacts to things. First of all, he don't listen in general. But if that's how he reacts to things, and that was, we want to talk about Kay, but that was an overreaction.
Yes, it absolutely was.
Kicking her out.
It absolutely was. You don't kick your wife out your house.
And you damn sure don't lock her out. And
exactly.
She's knocking on everybody's doors at 1:00 in the morning.
Oh, she was going to talk to people.
She said she was trying to. They showed the camera of her knocking on Brett and Ryan's door.
So that explains
at
more
1:00 in the morning.
Why the guys were like not having any sympathy for
right.
It makes more sense. But I was saying that Jose was probably at some point like, well, if you would have budgeted for a good locksmith, you wouldn't have been waiting outside. You know what I'm saying? But forget them. The topic of the guys' chat and the girls' chat, I believe, seemed to be that they were going through some issues. Let's touch on it real briefly before we get into these ratings. I'll start with the guys.
Start with the girls.
Start with the girls?
Yeah.
Go with the girls.
So Rachel was basically saying, I don't love him anymore. Like, I don't think I can feel the same way about him.
Forget him.
And Mirla like, all the girls was like,
that's
the
energy
that's
I'm on. That's the energy I'm on. Right? But basically, also, the girls were meeting at a rage room. If you're not familiar with a rage room, you just smash things. For some reason, Michaela was not present for this date. And it is probably the most prevalent date that she could have possibly been on. Because she needs to smash some things, clearly. So, don't know what was going on there. For the guys' date, I think they were doing golf. Was it actual golf or mini golf?
It was, no, it was the range where you just hit them.
Actual golf or range, golf range. And they were like, so what exactly like happened? And he was like, yo, man, she was tripping, blah, blah, blah. And then the next morning she tried to come back. Wait a minute. I'm just curious, how did you end up here? So he completely left out the part about...
He said, oh yeah, she said, the next day she said she wanted a divorce. Gil was like...
You don't just go from I love you to divorce.
Something's missing here.
There's something missing. So he left out the part about him cursing her out, slamming the door,
locking her out.
He's like, sometimes you just be leaving the door, you know what I'm saying, locked. And Brett's trash ass had to step up and be like, yeah, I've never.
Ryan.
Week 10, folks. Episode 10. I still don't know the difference between these two people. Right? Ryan said, "Oh, I've never
accidentally deadbolt the door."
And I'm trash. So don't know what you got going on here, sir. Everybody was like, "Nah, bro, I don't know." You know what I'm saying? But you got to take the woman's side on that one. You have to take the woman's side on that one. Obviously,
you don't have to take the woman's side.
You want to hear your boy out.
He took things too far.
Exactly.
You even if you have an issue, you don't lock somebody out of the house. Mm-hmm. Like that's next level stuff. Like. That's a no-go for me.
It's a no-go.
I would have been in jail. I'm sorry.
It's a no-go. Let's get into these ratings, though. Let's start with Rachel and Jose this time. Let's start with Rachel and Jose.
Trash
Let
man.
me know how Trash Man is doing this week. We've given them consistent 7s the last couple weeks. It is week 10. I think that their score goes down a little bit.
Of course it does, because for me, from Rachel's perspective, I don't know what he would have to do to rectify that situation, to come back from that. because that's very far. Like, it wasn't just I don't, you know, we having a disagreement about something. Right. You cussed her out like she was somebody on the street and locked her out. Like, that's problem. A big. They getting a 4 for me.
Ooh, okay, 4.
It's hard to come back from that.
I was gonna drop it down to a 6 because there is still, even though she says that she doesn't love, she was the one that said "I love you" first. So that was something that stood out to me. I get it,
but Rachel also came out of a relationship where it wasn't a healthy relationship. So now she's done counseling, she's lost weight, all this stuff. So she's focused on, like, this is what I want. And she also said, oh, I wanted to plan my life with someone. I feel like I came into the position where my husband has everything planned out already. Mm-hmm. So these are all valid points.
Sounds good. I'm talking about Zach and Michaela next. Zach and Michaela have received a 5 for us last week. How are we feeling about them this week?
I'm gonna give them a 6 because I'm feeling nice.
Really? I was gonna say they're not. They are still talking about everything. That's the thing that stands out to me the most, is that even if they blow up, they're like, hey, that was like, even after the Dr. Viviana thing, he went and cried in the corner. She was like, what's happening? I was like, girl, this is probably not the best time. It's probably not the best time.
He was over there having an emotional breakdown. I can't.
But giving him a 6, we'll leave it at that. We'll be generous this week. We'll see what happens the next week. She got some more doors to slam, so we'll see. You seen in the previews.
Oh yeah, that preview.
You seen in the previews. Damn, we ain't get there yet.
That's crazy.
We ain't there yet. Let's talk about Bow Bow, because Johnny has a name and he exists. Oh, we didn't even discuss how on top of being called another man's name, apparently it was Johnny's name that he was called, so that the gentleman had another laugh at Jose's expense, like, from the gut, because it's like, bro, if it was like Pedro or something,
if it was Juan or,
you know what I'm saying? Why
you
both chose Hispanic names? That's so horrible.
Because we love Juan and we love Pedro from Family Chateau.
Yeah.
That's why.
My God, I can't wait to
shout out my guy Juan.
I can't wait to watch that show.
Oh my God.
And shout out Juan. But yes, at this time, also you finished the Hella Green from Root and Berry, black owned.
You can't see it.
You know what I'm saying? Oh, sorry. The Hella Green from Root and Berry. Black owned business by some wonderful friends of ours. Please get that at Root and Berry on Instagram. You can scan
You're
that.
in LA,
but yeah, specifically Los Angeles, but we working on shipping, y'all. Anywho, back to Bao and Johnny. I'm thinking 6.5, 7.
What did they have last week?
They got a 6 last week from us.
I feel like they're getting better. I'm gonna give them a 7.
Jazz says 7. I will give them a 7. Always things to work on, always, but very, very intimate this episode. We're starting to become apparent that Johnny is hoping that everything leads to sex, which is going to be it's a red flag already. We'll say that. It's a red flag.
You think that's a red flag?
Just a little bit.
Interesting.
Brett and Ryan, they did okay this episode, but
he left for 2 days.
Yeah.
He's trash. He's a trash man.
You gave him a 6 last time. I gave them a 7. I forget why.
Still giving them a 6.
Why I felt they deserved the 7, but I will give them a 6 this time around because they have some things to work on as well. Everybody does.
So far, the only thing wrong he did was stand somewhere else for 2 days. They don't really have any real issues. Like, I would expect to have an issue. If I marry somebody at first sight, I would expect to have any issue anyway, because most likely, I would assume that they're not going to be necessarily what I'm looking for, like, physically. They would be completely different. Because if we lived in the same city, I probably would have seen you and be like, oh, he's my type physically. So
there you go. Last but certainly not least, Gil and Mirla, who received a kiss.
Yes, 2.
This episode.
2 kisses.
We've seen them, and I was hoping the kiss was going to happen in the moment when they was, like, doing the thing again. But, it worked out, man. It worked out. I'm glad they got that intimacy going. They got a 7 from us last week. I think they're on the same vibe. Maybe
they get a 7.5 this week.
7.5 from the JasVynce show. Yes, the kissing is taking place. Folks, please let us know out of 10 how you would rate these couples in the comments, because we want to know. Sometimes we're feeling generous. Like, a couple of these couples could have got a little something, but we want to see how they're going to turn out. Obviously, Jasmine doesn't give anybody a 10 until decision day takes place, right? But folks, that is everything that we have for you, folks. Please make sure you take the time to
like, comment, and subscribe.
Of course, always. Thank you to our subscribers. We appreciate every single one of you. Thank you for taking the time to watch this entire episode of The JasVynce Show. Peace out, y'all. Peace.